patient, I might have a toast with you. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling great, I'm terrific. We ain't taking no losses, we winning. Undefeated, check the percentage.
Yo, Ski, man, what's going on, everybody, man? Good morning. Good morning, man. Listen, I got a special guest backstage, man. I'm about to bring him up, man. Listen, hey, this show about to be fire. I'm going to tell you that, man. Shout out to Bro, too, man. As you see the title, man, Bro knows ball, you feel me? Like, not only, and I'm going to let him kind of tell you about his journey, but he doesn't specifically talk about the Vikings. He covers kind of the whole NFL, but let's get him on, man. My guy, man, what's going on, man? Can you hear me? Hey, what's good?
How are you, brother? I appreciate you having me.
Man, for sure, man. Listen, man, you know, it's funny. So we have somebody in our community, her name's Sara. And we have this group chat, bro. And like she posted a video. She's like, hey, check this out. You know, this dude right here, he knows what's up. And I'm like, you know what? I gotta go holla at Bro, man. Like, Bro talking, Bro know ball out here. So that's why the title is Bro Knows Ball. And that's a fact, man. Not only the one video about JJ McCarthy, but I kind of went through your channel, man, and you know, appreciate all the work you put in, man, for sure.
Dude, I appreciate you calling me up, have me on the show. I'm pumped, dude. I rarely get on shows that solely focus on one team. And man, I'm excited to talk some Vikings. I'm really high on them this year. So I'm excited to get into the story and get into things, how they're gonna look this season.
Yeah, man, for sure, man. So I mean, real quick, man, just kind of tell us like how you started. Are you going to school for like sports analysis or anything like that? How'd you get started on the YouTube? Like what made you pick up the microphone and man start talking football?
Yeah, so I've been doing this for I want to say like 4 or 5 years now. Just running my podcast. It's just a passion of mine. Football centers around my life. I play college football up here in Canada, and I love it, dude. I've loved it ever since I was young. And when I was young, my parents kind of talked to me about joining a podcast, starting a podcast, and I thought, why not? Like, if I'm talking with my boys about it, I might as well start a podcast, see what I can do. And ever since then, watching more football, watching more film, kind of just grown into what it is today. And now we're here. It's, I think, year 4, year 5 now, and just getting after it still. So I enjoy it. It's just a passion of mine. I'm not necessarily pursuing it for anything, but opening all doors, and I'm listening to whatever I can for the future. So I love it.
Yeah, man, for sure, man. Shout out everybody in the chat, man, for sure. Make sure you go subscribe to the Bro JV's channel as well. It is in the title. All you got to do is just click the name in the title. Go subscribe, man. Let's show him that we here to support. That's for sure. Because first of all, he high on our team. You feel me? But we're going to talk about, you know, so the funny story is, if you know, I created an original thumbnail first, and I had, you had the Jets jacket on. So I pointed the arrow to the Jets logo, like on the thumbnail. Cause I'm like, okay, we have a Jets fan, you know, talking about the Minnesota Vikings in a positive light. So I figured a thumbnail, let me add the arrow to point it, just to point that out. But then, you know, after me and you like kind of chatted it up in the DMs, you're like, nah, I'm a Bills fan. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's up. And I told you about my boy Skull Mafia, man. Shout out Skull Mafia in the chat right here. He's from that area. And he actually went to that Bills game, and I was coming at you. I was like, "Oh, JJ catch!" And you were like, "Yo, chill,
yeah, that
bro."
was crazy, dude. That was crazy. We're only remembered for the bad moments for some reason. We can't seem to get a good moment on our side. But yeah. I don't necessarily. I'm a Bills fan, but I love like NFL merch. Yeah. And whatever looks cool for the podcast, I'll wear. So I'll wear any team. I got a bunch of different merch, jackets, jerseys, and kind of like Cam Newton. I don't know if you've ever seen his podcast, but he kind of just wears whatever. That's where I got the inspiration from. And yeah, dude, I'm pumped. I'm pumped to get into this show.
Yeah. No, that's a fact, man. So everybody in the chat, so you know, man, we got an actual Bills, like, you know, like he said, he's a Bills fan, but just an NFL fan more than none. You know what I mean? Like he loves the NFL and talks about all teams, as you'll see on his channel once you go over there and subscribe, man. So shout out to him, man. So let's get into the meat and potatoes, broski. The reason why I really, you know, I found you and gravitated towards what you were talking about. And I was telling you how the Bills and Vikings are very similar. Y'all are like the AFC version of us, man. It would be perfect, first of all, to have JJ McCarthy face Josh Allen, 2 0-4 teams in the Super Bowl, and have them go at each other, man, and see who can walk away with it finally. But man, the talk about JJ McCarthy, man, I kind of just want to pick your brain, bro. Like, why and you said you're in Canada? That's where you reside?
I am. Yeah, I'm located in Canada.
Okay. Yeah. So I just want to know, like, what were you following JJ McCarthy in college? Like, did you follow his college career or just when he got in the NFL?
So I do a lot of NFL stuff. I usually focus on college more so when it comes to the draft. It's a lot, man. Like it's a full-time job pretty much to watch football, right? Especially when you're covering all teams. So usually I look at them when they come through the draft process, and I'm really high on watching rookies once they've been drafted and seeing their situation, because at the end of the day, you can have the most talented guy on planet Earth, and if he goes to a bad team in a bad situation, especially for quarterbacks, it might not really matter, right? If you got a prospect, a generational guy that goes to Cleveland, there's a big difference in that when you got somebody who's maybe a little bit not so talented, but he's going to a team that's structured like Minnesota. You know what I mean? So definitely watch the talent in college, but I think it also matters where they land. And that's why I've been so high on JJ McCarthy as well, landing in Minnesota, which I've talked about. And I'm also high on his talent, but I'm just in love with the situation as well that the Vikings got going on.
Yeah, let's play it real quick, man. I want to play this real quick, man. Hopefully you don't mind, but
I'll go as far as
hear this.
I'm all aboard the JJ McCarthy train this year. And I believe so heavily in the Vikings this season. I'll go as far as to say the Vikings are winning their division and JJ McCarthy is the franchise quarterback.
Let's go, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's go, my guy, JV.
That was sick. That was sick. I appreciate it. That was lit.
Let's go. You feel me? I love it. So, I mean, I obviously, you know, after hearing that, man, I mean, just touch on it, man. You not only do you believe in JJ McCarthy, but you believe in the Minnesota Vikings as a whole actually winning the division. I mean, I got to hear about it, man. What process did you go through, like looking at the rest of the NFC to figure out, like, you know what, the Vikings are the real deal this year, bro?
Yeah. So last year it was the Lions and the Vikings, and they played in, I want like that week 17 game, week 16 game, and that was kind of the deciding factor of the winner of the division. And then after that, I thought the Vikings kind of just their confidence was a little shot, and Sam Darnold was a little shot, and the playoffs just didn't go as planned maybe after the incredible season that they had. This year, I think it's a whole new situation in the NFC North. You're looking at the Lions team who's lost both coordinators and their starting center, which is huge. I don't think people realize how much of a loss it is, because they went into games with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn having the upper hand in that area in most cases, right? Ben Johnson, the best play caller in the league last year, probably, and Aaron Glenn, one of the premier defensive coordinators last year. They're both gone. It's new faces, and we saw a few years what that did to Philly. They got a new OC in, and it just tanked the offense halfway through the season, right? So I'm not necessarily so sold on the team as I used to be. Now, I'm not saying that the Lions can't win the division. Obviously, it's the NFL. Things can happen, right? They're still a talented team. But when I look at the most complete team in the division with the play calling, it's Minnesota. Like, it's not even close, right? And I think the Lions take a small step down. I don't even think the Packers make the playoffs this year. I'm not high on them at all. And then the Bears, I mean, I do like the direction they're going now that they got Ben Johnson and they're surrounding Caleb Williams with talent. But again, you look at what the Vikings have done. They've really worked to address every single position on the field, including the quarterback position, surround him with weapons, work on that defense. The play callers, Kevin O'Connell, I think, is a top 10 coach in the league. And then you got Brian Flores on the defensive side, who's been fantastic with the Minnesota Vikings and scheming up even for top offenses in the league. So that's why I'm so high on the Vikings this year. I think it's a perfect match of talent in Minnesota and maybe a step down for a few teams that were ahead of them in the division a few years ago.
Man, let's go. Y'all see what I mean? Y'all see why I say bro knows ball? You see what I'm saying? Hey, look, man, JV, man, I got to keep it real with you, bro. Listen, I know you say, you know, you haven't bought into one team all the way. You know, when you were talking about your Bills, it was kind of like, I rock with them, but you know what I mean? I'm open, right? I'm just letting you know, bro, we welcome you over here on Purple Gang, man. You feel me? Like, you can always be a Vikings fan. You feel me? Like, for sure.
It's my backup plan. Don't worry. It's my
Your
backup
plan, bro. Backup plan, bro. We will accept you, man. No, I like everything you talked about. It's crazy because that's kind of it's the same. It's kind of the same direction I go when I speak about the Vikings, and I like how you talked about the quarterback and the situation. Like, some of our fan base, and I think it goes across the board with fan bases. When you get a young quarterback, like, you'll have some of them that don't believe, and then you'll have some of them that do believe. But a lot of them just focus on the name on both sides, though. They'll just focus on the name of the quarterback more than they focus on the system, the situation, right? When I think about the Minnesota Vikings, why I'm confident as you are, is that, like, Kevin O'Connell has proven that he can bring quarterbacks in. I don't know if you remember the Josh Dobbs situation where we had Josh Dobbs for a couple weeks. You know what I mean? And then you got Nick Mullins, who was going out there and throwing for 300 yards. Now, yes, he would throw an interception when it mattered the most to F us over. But still, yet, man, you could see the elevation in every quarterback that's played under Kevin O'Connell. So it's just one of those deals where I look at JJ McCarthy and I'm like, what's the difference? There really isn't a difference. I think he's going to be able to step in and be able to do his thing. I want to ask you too, like, if you know, I don't know if I'm sure you are familiar, but the Vikings, this is a big conversation across Vikings Nation, is the Vikings have been known to be a passing type of offense. And that makes sense because Kevin O'Connell, he loves the passing schemes and he's a former quarterback. So it just makes all the sense in the world. I want to ask you, because we did upgrade the offensive line. We drafted a wide receiver, a guard, and then we also added Jordan Mason. Where do you see the Minnesota Vikings standing as far as the offensive scheme? Do you think that we're going to lean back more towards the run or keep it passing throughout this 2025 season?
I think there'll be an air raid offense again. I mean, I don't know how you're not. You have Justin Jefferson. I think he's the best receiver in the league. You got Jordan Addison, who's a really solid second option, like I've mentioned. And then Jalen Naylor, a guy that I'm high on. And people don't really talk about him, but having him as a third option, fast route runner, mechanically sound, that's, I mean, everything you can need. And then TJ Hawkinson, too, at the tight end position. I think it's hard to deviate away from the air raid style of offense. Now, with that being said, I also do like the fact that they went and they gave Aaron Jones somebody to work with, because he is getting up there in age and maybe his efficiency isn't as good as it's been in previous years. But as we saw last year, he can still get the job done, right? Yeah. I think with Jordan Mason coming in, it's going to give them both some time to rest. And we've seen how powerful 1-2 punches have been in the league. I look at the Lions last year with Montgomery and Gibbs. They were so good when they were a tandem and they were working together simultaneously, giving each other some rest so that they had fresh legs whenever they were on the field. I see that for the Vikings this year, but I still look at that team as an air raid style of offense that focuses on the pass, that pushes the ball downfield. And with JJ McCarthy, this is the thing I don't really understand with people who hate on him and who are maybe predicting a bad season or a fall off. I find it really hard to believe that any quarterback in the NFL could step into this offense and not manage it at least well, right? They have so many options, and you talk receivers, tight ends, running backs, one of the best offensive lines in the league. And people will look at last year and say, well, the offensive line wasn't that good. Darrisaw went down with an injury early in October, I believe. And after there, for sure, it plummeted. But you look at the acquisitions in free agency, they went out and got a few guys from the Colts. That offensive line was fantastic last season. They drafted somebody. Darrisaw is back. He's got great protection. He's got weapons. He's got a backfield. All he's got to go out there is just manage. He doesn't have to do anything spectacular. And that's not me saying he won't. If he does, that's just a bonus. This is a team that saw Sam Darnold throw 4,300 yards last year, and people are telling me they don't believe in JJ McCarthy. I don't know why. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think people believed in Sam Darnold last year either, and they saw what he did. And JJ McCarthy was starting over him going into week 1. You know what I mean? Like I don't get it.
Yeah, no, hey man, I gotta give you a Ricky, man. You know what I mean? Hey, I gotta give you a Ricky, bro. Let's go, man. Hey, he talking, bro. Like, see what I mean? Y'all see why I named it, man. I gotta keep going back to this, man. Real quick, man. Shout out Norris, man, in the building. JV, real quick, man. So I'm doing this thing where my father, he has cancer and he's fighting it, and he actually wound up ringing the bell. So we got some positive light on there. We are going to get the scan, but one of my good friends, Northfield, created these plaques here, and I have 4 of them to give away. And today we're doing the first drawing, man. You know what I mean? So JV, you got the honors to be on the show as I do the first drawing. I'm going to do it before we get out of here, before we end the stream. So it'll be here in a little while. But, just everybody, man, $20. Make sure you drop a Cash App or Cash App Vocal Vike, $ Vocal Vike, or drop a super chat, $20, man, to enter the drawing. Listen, Norris made a bet with me, y'all, real quick, and I gotta get it. So he made 4 of these, as y'all know. I want one. I'm gonna keep it real. But I want to give away all 4. But he said if I can raise $200 more, he will specially make me another one. So you know what that means, man. I need the squad hey, man, I need $200 more within the next 3 weeks, bro. Let's go, Purple Gang. I told him, I said, oh, you testing? Okay, watch what our people do, man. So shout out everybody, man. Make sure you keep donating. Hey, and we will, and I'm doing it old school. I wrote all the names. I got them in this jar, and we will be pulling the name on live, man, with my boy JV, man. Only because I don't feel bad having JV on as we do this. I know this is a personal thing for the Vikings community, but y'all hear how he talking? Man, I don't see no different, man. You feel me, man? Hey, man. Hey, same thing if you ask me. Shout out my boy. But no, man. Hey, JV, man, I love everything you said right there too, man. I mean, look, again, I go back to that as well. Like when it comes to just the structure, the system, everything. I'll tell you this, I definitely doubted Sam Darnold. I mean, I'm kind of curious to know how you felt when you saw last year that we brought Sam Darnold. Like, I look at Sam Darnold coming into the Minnesota Vikings, and, I think that's what really now makes me believe that any quarterback can come in, but I needed that one more quarterback to prove that it's not the name, like I was saying earlier, that it's the system. And Sam Darnold was that guy that gave me kind of that closure. But at the beginning, I got to admit, I'm like, Sam Darnold, bruh? Like, what? Like, we're bringing in Sam Darnold? I mean, how did you see the Vikings last year in offseason bringing in Sam Darnold? Did you see the success coming, or did you kind of feel like, I don't know?
Like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah. Like, I mean, how could you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at Sam Darnold's track record, and Kevin O'Connell resurrected this guy's career, and he got a max deal in Seattle because of it. Now, again, that's not me saying Sam Darnold isn't a talented quarterback, and you look at his history, he hasn't been with the best teams. And this is what I'm talking about. When you are a top 5, even a top 10 pick, you're not always going to the best team. You're not always going to the best situation, because those are franchises that are severely struggling, right? They don't have protection. They don't have weapons. They don't have good defenses. They went 4-13 the last year, and it's going to take a few years, more than that in most cases, to get things rolling. The special case scenario with JJ, the Vikings were in a kind of a special place with an asterisk beside it, and they got him early in the draft, but at the same time, they had the roster to support him, and they were prepared for it. And then last year when you watched a preseason game, and I get it, it's just a preseason game, but it's the only action I've seen in the NFL that I can value and I can watch, and he looked fantastic, right? That's where I really started rooting for the guy, and I was like, maybe he can make some damage in the league, right? Maybe he can make some noise. And like I said, it's the situation, it's the structure. And I didn't believe in Sam Darnold at first, because you look at the name, you're like, I've watched this guy play, I know what's up. But then you realize that it really is just about the landing spot. And I've said in previous episodes that there have been so many case scenarios where talent has been held back, like Lamar in Baltimore under the Greg Roman system, Jalen Hurts a few years ago, and I'm forgetting the OC's name, but where he was held back and that offense was held back. But then you see guys like Purdy, right, or Sam Darnold, who just excel. And Purdy was a late round draft pick. Sam Darnold was a lost cause. And all of a sudden, they're taking over the league and they're getting MVP talks. It's because when you get to the high level, everyone's really good. And how are you separated? It's your scheme. It's your supporting cast. It's the players around you. It's the structure. And in Minnesota, it has to be top 5, at least on paper right now. And from what we saw last season in the regular season, they're set to go. They're set and they're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, nah, man. Hey, look, like Brock Purdy, when I think about Brock Purdy, I'm like, yo. Like, even when he came in, and I was so upset that he wound up getting hurt in that game against I think it was against the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
That was the NFC Championship, and he got
Yep.
hurt early in that game. I'm like, damn, man, what a disservice to the team, man. Only because, like, obviously it's not his fault. Injuries happen. I'm just saying though, like, damn, man, they really had a chance. I think they would have competed. I honestly had them winning if Brock Purdy stayed healthy throughout that whole game. They were winning that football game because it seemed like he was on fire too, right before he got his elbow hit. But it just goes back to if Brock Purdy can do it. I look at Brock Purdy. I like what you said about, at this level in the NFL, it's not all the guys are good, right? Like every quarterback you see, especially the starters, they all can throw a football. Now there may be some separation as far as being able to read a defense or how fast do you process. Some people are kind of obviously going to be different with that. But man, JJ McCarthy being a winner, right? This man has won. People that don't know just don't know, but like I'll be here to remind them. He won at every single level. People will say he wasn't the reason why the Michigan Wolverines won the national championship because the run game was just, really good, right? I compare him. I want to know your takes on this, JV. I compare that type of season to Jalen Hurts this year or last year winning the Super Bowl, right? Jalen Hurts wasn't throwing. He didn't throw for 4,000 yards. I think Jalen Hurts had like, I think he only had like what 20. I'll have to double check, but it wasn't even 3,000 yards. I don't believe, if I'm not mistaken. But like he didn't go crazy. You know what I mean? Jalen Hurts didn't go crazy. He ran the offense. He's the leader. You can see him leading the team, and they won the Super Bowl. I'm not mad with that type of performance if JJ McCarthy can do that too under this system.
Yeah, I'm just looking up the stats here. I don't even think he went for 3,000 yards last year through the air. But it doesn't really matter because when you get to the peak of NFL performance in the Super Bowl and you're balling out and the team's winning, I mean, what else can you ask for, right? And I was actually going to bring this up to you that when the Vikings do eventually make it through, and I think they will win this year in the playoffs, and hopefully they do break through, if it's not this year, over the next few years with McCarthy in the Super Bowl, there's going to be that discussion, right, of is he an elite quarterback or is it the supporting cast? Yeah. And it's going to be that same Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy discussion. Is it the quarterback or is it the team? And that just naturally happens when you win a Super Bowl and maybe you didn't come in as the highest of recruits. You're not a Mahomes or a Josh Allen or a Lamar where you're just widely accepted as one of the top guys. And I could totally see it happening. But that's one big thing I talked about with JJ was the intangibles. I think the ability to win, and not only the ability, but the experience winning, it means a lot. And people who have played and won at a high level will understand that you know what it takes to win, and you've seen it firsthand. You've experienced it, and you know nothing else, right? That's what you want to reach again, and you know how to do that. You've seen it at a high level. It's his ability to be tough. It's another intangible, right? He's standing in the pocket. He'll take a hit to deliver a football on time. His leadership abilities. Like there's a lot of things that aren't talked about because they're not seen necessarily on the field. You can't physically see them on the field being presented to you, but they matter, right? When you play an 18-game season plus the playoffs, you need things held together. And JJ McCarthy just seems to me like one of those guys. And any of his weaknesses coming out of college, I fully trust Kevin O'Connell to address that, right? Of course, there are going to be drawbacks for quarterbacks coming out of college. Every quarterback is going to have his critics, his downfalls, his shortcomings. But anything that he had in college, I truthfully believe can be solved by either the system in Minnesota or by Kevin O'Connell himself, because we've seen it with other quarterbacks.
Yeah. How'd you feel about, like, do you think him missing the year last year? Because, we have Vikings fans that are kind of, some are on this side of the fence, some are on that side of the fence as far as him not being able to practice. Now, it wasn't a totally missed year, if you think about it, like, because he was able to be with the team. He was able to be in the meeting rooms and things like that. But do you think it's going to affect, do you see any kind of case where it's going to affect him, maybe rusty? I don't know. Like, do you think that did him kind of dirty having to miss the whole season last year as far as being able to get the practice reps, the timing and stuff like that? Do you see any kind of downward trend as far as maybe it might take him. It's like going into last season, you might say, okay, it might only took him 2 weeks to get up to pace, and then now he's balling out. And now this year, being that he wasn't able to be out on the field and actually practice, and like you said earlier, a lot of us felt like he might have been the week 1 starter. Is that going to set him back going into the 2025 season?
I mean, I don't necessarily think so. I mean, I think it's legit to think that he might have a slow start. I think the Vikings start like 2-2. I had on
Yeah.
their record prediction before. I think I had them at like 12-5 to end the season. I can't necessarily remember the exact number, but
Yeah.
I obviously you missed that amount of football, that amount of time off. You're going to be a little rusty, right? It's going to take a little bit to get back into the swing of things and get that connection going again with your team. But I don't. If he's that guy, I don't think it matters.
He's
right?
that guy.
If he's that guy, I don't think it matters. Right? If
Yeah.
he can step in and he's built for it, I don't think it really matters. Right? He's young in his career. Obviously,
Yeah.
it was something he had to overcome immediately when he came in the NFL, which is tough, right? But
Yeah.
if he's got the support that he's got, if he's got this full offseason now to work with his guys, work with his targets, his receivers, his tight ends, running backs, his O-line, figure things out, maybe it'll take him week 3, week 4. But after that point, I think we're going to see the true potential of this offense, and I think they're just going to explode after that.
Yeah, no, facts, man. I can't wait to see it, man. Look, and we're gonna be in touch, JV, man, during the Viking season, man. Me and you. I mean, obviously, first of all, I'm loving how the show is going, man. And I like to say when we have friends of the channel come on, man, you know, me and you building this new relationship, man. I'm gonna say, don't be afraid to, you know, holla at me if you want to jump on, or I come over there on your channel, man. You got some stuff you talking about, and it has to center around the Vikings. Like, I love talking about the whole NFL, but as far as like passion, obvious, you see the purple and gold.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like it's easy. It's easy.
I should have bought. Don't worry, I got you. I got them
Let's
supporters.
go,
Don't
man.
worry.
See,
Don't worry. I
hey,
got
let's
y'all.
go.
I should have put in the
Hey.
frame. I should have put in the frame.
Let's go, man. Shout out JV, man, for sure. Nah, listen, man. Yeah. So anytime you got a show, you know, coming up or anything, you need somebody to represent the NFC North or the Vikings, man. I'm here for you, brother, for sure. I want to ask you, what is your let's switch it up a little bit here. What is your expectation for the Bills this year? Like, do you see them? Because this is the thing, man. Every single year, I feel like the Bills are like Super Bowl contenders, at least for the past, I don't know, since after Josh Allen's rookie year. I feel like they've always been contenders. Hey, they're going to be this year. What are the expectations going into 2025? Is there anything different? Is it actually this year is their year now, or what do you see?
It's the same story every year. Like the Bills and the Vikings are kind of in a different spot when you look at the structure of their teams, because Minnesota focuses primarily on building a well-rounded, developed roster, whereas Buffalo, year after year, just relies on Josh Allen to put in work and put up 30, 35 points, and hopefully the defense can just hold on. Right? So it's two completely different systems, and I would much rather have a Viking system that I can trust the entire team, and maybe the quarterback isn't that superhero, but he can get the job done. Whereas I'm betting on a team that's solely, you know, dragged along by their quarterback. And obviously every year we're going to have a shot, and we don't necessarily need any more talent offensively because Josh Allen is at the level he is, and because he's been playing at an MVP level, and he won the MVP last season. But I think it's going to take a little bit more for the Bills to really overcome the hump. Even if we beat Kansas City last year, we were getting walked in the playoffs by the Eagles. Like we just weren't built for it. And we went into the draft, and I don't know how well versed you are on the Bills, but they addressed some defensive situation, but I still think they're missing a little bit, unfortunately. And I'm just keeping it real as a fan. And obviously when the AFC Championship comes around, and if we're playing in it, hopefully we are, I'm going to root for them, and I'm going to say the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. But being realistic with things, I still think there's a lot of pieces to our roster that we lack. And we got exposed last year in the playoffs. Our secondary got burned. Couldn't put pressure on the quarterback. Yeah. And we have Josh Allen. But outside of that, it's really tough to root for anybody offensively. And obviously, Khalil Shakir, I'm a big fan. But, you know, James Cook only played 50% of our snaps last year. He's not a 3-down back. there's a lot of inefficiencies with our roster, and you don't really see that with the Vikings. So that's kind of where I stand on this team. And obviously, we have a shot. It's going to be every year when you have a franchise quarterback like that. When you have Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, there's always going to be a shot, and there's always going to be something to root for your franchise. But after that, it's tough to see a bright spot for this team, unfortunately.
Yeah. Nah, facts, man. Speaking of Cook, man, over here in Vikings Nation, man, especially me, Dalvin Cook is my second favorite, most, valuable Vikings running back of all time, in my opinion, man. I just love the home run ability. And it's crazy because I feel like James and him they run it almost exactly the same. Like their play style is damn near identical. Maybe Dalvin was more of a 3-down back, I guess, but like, I don't know, man. So I want to ask you, because I felt like recently I was seeing rumors about James maybe wanting to be traded, or y'all might be shopping, bro. Like, is that true?
From what I've heard, yeah, it's definitely out there. He wants a lot of money, and he's super talented. Like, don't get me wrong, but again, my big thing is if we're gonna pay you the dollars, I want you on the field. His snap share last year was like 48%, which is, I mean, what are we doing, right? Like, you want 15, 17 million as a running back. You want that Saquon Barkley payday. I want to see you on the field 70, 80% of the time. I want a Derrick Henry guy who I can rely on every down, who's going to be out there no matter what, right? I want a Barkley. I want a CMC. When you come to James Cook, he's super talented. And keep in mind, the Bills had a really good offensive line last year. That's definitely a bright spot. I lied. There's definitely a good bright spot about that. We have a good offensive line, but if you're not on the field, what are we paying you for, right? I'm not paying you to warm up on the bench. I want to see you. I want to see the work put in on the field. I want another option besides Josh Allen. So I support giving him the money, but I think that much for the amount he's playing, something would have to change. You know what I mean? Something eventually would have to change. It's either we're paying him more, or we're playing him more, pardon me, or he's gone. It's one of the two, and might have to make that tough decision down the stretch.
No, that's a fact, man. Real quick, JV, man, let's take a quick break and shout out the chat, man. Hey, man, listen, shout out the Purple Gang, man. Y'all pulled up for Broski, man. Listen, I know not Broski Bear, you know what I'm saying? Not Broski Bear. Shout out my boy Broski Bear, but y'all pulled up for JV, man. This was a time of the day too that we usually don't go live, but you know what? Hey, I kind of like it, man. I've done one of these before with Coach. We call him Coach, man. He has a podcast as well. And we did a morning show, which I usually never do. I actually never do, but we wound up doing one, and it turned out to have a great crowd, man. That they pop out. I love it, man. This has actually been really good, man. Make sure y'all hit the like button if you're in the building. I know it's easy to forget. Hit the like button so we can get in the algae, man. You already know what time it is, so people can go back and watch the replay. Because my goal today too is not only to do the drawing, which we're gonna do as we're heading out, but to also make sure we get my bro some subscribers, man, and make sure we over there supporting him. And when he drops a video about the Vikings, and it doesn't even have to be about the Vikings, just like really flawed, no matter what, just make sure y'all let him know that, hey, we watching you, bro. Hey, don't change on us, JV. Don't switch up on us, dog. Yeah, I'm saying, hey, look, if we come through, if we hit some bumps in the road, man, you know what I'm saying? Just make sure you're staying with us, man. We're gonna get through. For sure, man. So hey, man, it's been lit. A lot of people saying they've already subscribed. Hey, that's what's up, man. Hey, look, I'll say this. Every time we have a special guest on, and after the show's over, and then you continue to, do your thing like you are, you'll see like names pop up from our nation, man, from Vikings Nation. I call my community the Purple Gang community. You'll see us over there, man, supporting you, man. That's a fact, man. And you'd be like, hey, they from rap. Yeah. They from over there with rap, man. So I can't wait to see that. Next thing on the list, JV, we got one more topic here, and then we'll do the outro here, man. The next thing on the list was, which division will be better? NFC North, AFC East. Obviously, I picked that. Even though we're playing the AFC, we're actually playing the AFC North this year. But I wanted to, ask you about the AFC East, only because I feel like it's going to be interesting this year. I feel like it's one of those things. I'm interested to hear your takes about the AFC East, only because you know, my father, Todd, speaking of Todd, that we're doing the raffle for, he's actually a Dolphins fan and been a Dolphins fan for forever, right? And I always I'm like, are the Dolphins finally going to challenge the Bills? I mean, what does Justin Fields look like? I see you got the Jets helmet behind you. I see that Jets helmet there in the corner. You know, is Justin Fields finally going to hit his stride and become the Jets quarterback that they've been looking for this whole time? 6 years into his career, I think it is roughly. What is your vibe around the AFC East right now going into 2025?
So yeah, it's a conversation I've had with a few people on my podcast.
Okay.
In that you look at, there's a lot of NFL teams you can pinpoint and say they have a decent roster. Like I like what they're doing, but at the end of the day, are they going to contend? Right. And it's that continuous question of, do you draft a quarterback and hope to develop him and build around him? Or do you just keep recycling until you land a superstar like your Mahomes, like your Allen, like your Lamar, and build around him? And I think in the AFC East right now, besides Josh Allen, and honestly, the Pats, I'm high on the Pats this year. I think they could do some damage. You got Tua in Miami, who's good, right? Like, he's good. And the Dolphins have been okay, but I just don't see them doing much, right? And no disrespect to Pops, obviously.
Yeah,
He's
no,
been
facts.
suffering for a while too. I'm sure
he knows the truth.
Dolphins.
Yeah, he knows the truth, man.
You know what I mean? But again, it's like the Dolphins, the Jets, even the Pats, right? These past 5 years, it hasn't been all that for those teams. And I think the Pats, like I said, I think they're going to take a jump and really challenge us this year. But the Jets and the Dolphins, I just think they have so much more to improve on. The Jets with the new head coach, Aaron Glenn, coming in from Detroit. And then Miami, obviously. I'm not a huge fan of the McDaniel system. And Tua, as good as we've seen him be at points, I'm just not sold on him as a Super Bowl caliber quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think the Bills it's still their division to lose. But when you compare the two, I mean, it's all day the NFC North, the competition. Although I said I don't think the Packers will end up making the playoffs this year, there's still competition, right? They're still talented. You got Jordan Love. You got a pretty good defense over there. You got weapons galore. You got the Lions, who were really good last year, and the Bears. Like, this division has the capability of every single team playing above 500 this season, right? Like, that's how good of a division we're talking about. I mean, last year, what did y'all go, like 14-3, I think?
Yeah.
Something around there. And
Yep.
it's a wild card. You're playing away in the first game of the playoffs, which is crazy, right? So there's a lot of competition in the NFC North. Arguably the best division, probably the best in football right now. But I still think the Vikes are going to be number one, dude. I still got them at number one finishing. I'm not sure about the conference. I don't know if they can win out against Philly, especially if JJ starts a little slow, which is realistic. Like, we can be realistic about the season. But I think they could do some damage, dude. And when it comes to a divisional AFC conference championship game, it's a team that you don't want to face with how the defense is built and how strong they are in the trenches. And hopefully JJ's balling out at that time too.
Let's go, man. I'm liking it, man. Shout out JV, man, with the real talk, man. Hey, man, I'm telling you, man, you definitely a Purple Gang member, man. You know, initiation was
I'm
today,
an affiliate.
man.
I'm an affiliate.
You're definitely an affiliate. That's a fact, man, for sure. Hey, Hey, look, I want to real quick too, though, man, on the Pats, man, because I'm thinking like, do you see the Pats taking a step forward this year with Drake May and everything? Are you high on Drake May? You think Drake May gonna be the real deal?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Drake May is the real deal.
Okay.
The one thing I will say that JJ is kind of behind the 8 ball with is last year's draft class. That quarterback draft class was super impressive, right?
Yeah.
Every single quarterback, you talk Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Drake May, even Michael Penix, right? All these guys showed up and they showed promise for their franchises, right? They're all going into year 2 as their starters for their franchises, and they look really, really good, and they have bright futures. So JJ, he's coming into now his true rookie season, right? His first season starting. He's a little bit behind, right? He's got to prove that he's also one of those guys in the draft that can do that in his draft class. He's going to be compared to those guys, right? They're going to say, look at what Drake May's doing now with a good system. Look at what Michael Penix was able to do in Atlanta. We want to see that from JJ too, right? Look at what Bo Nix was able to do last year in Denver and really turn around that franchise when they were still paying that Russell Wilson contract. So what
Mhm.
can JJ do this year? There's definitely a little pressure on him, and there's going to be a magnifying glass for sure on him this year and his success. But nonetheless, I think he's going to ball out, and I'm expecting a big year and big things from him.
Yeah, so I got a question from a fan here. He's a Vikings fan, but he's a high believer in the Bears. You know what I mean? He's definitely, he loves both. You know what I'm saying? Like he kind of on the Bears side too. He said, ask him, will McCarthy win Monday night versus the Bears? Rap, ask him how will he do his first Monday night game. Speaking of JJ McCarthy, how do you feel JJ will do, Monday night going into Soldier Field?
Yeah, honestly, is that the first time they're playing the Bears?
Yeah. So
That
it's
Monday
week
Night
one.
Football game?
Yeah, it's week
Oh,
one.
this is
Yep,
week
week
1.
one. Yep, week one, Monday night.
Honestly, I think I had predicted a loss in that game, and I think the Vikings will come around and beat the Bears later in the season, only because, again, like we just talked about, it's his first game playing under the bright lights. It's prime time Monday Night Football, and I'm not saying the moment's going to get to JJ, but I think immediately when we start the season, there might be a slow start for JJ and the Vikings, and there's going to be people who will pounce on that content in the media for sure,
Yeah.
right? Like that's
Yeah,
just naturally
absolutely.
how things work.
For
But
sure.
you really got to slow down and trust the process and see what Philly did last year. They started 2-2 and then went undefeated for like 10, 11 games and really took the league by storm. I see a similar path for the Vikings, right? I think they
Yeah.
play the Steelers week 4 too. That's going to be a tough matchup defensively. We know how Mike Tomlin deals with rookie quarterbacks and how good his defenses are in the regular season. It's going to be tough, right? But
Yeah.
after he overcomes the hump and he plays a few tough defenses, gets into a rhythm, I think after that, they'll win with the Bears later on in the season. And then we're really going to see that potential skyrocket for JJ. So just trust the process. I think those first few weeks, they won't be a good tell of how the rest of his career is going to go in Minnesota.
Nah, facts, man. Shout out to you, man. I'll say this real quick. I think we gonna win that game. I don't really, that me and you we don't see eye to eye on that one. You feel me? Only because I feel like week one, we're pretty good with Kevin O'Connell with week one games. So far, so good. I know we did take the L to Tampa Bay, but like week one, man, we seem to come out and really be balling, man. Now, again, we do have JJ McCarthy. It's going to be a new experience, but I still have faith. And on top of that, we own the Bears, man. The past couple of years, man, we just own the Bears. You know what I'm saying? I'm not changing my take until maybe we get closer because injuries could happen in preseason. There could be a lot of things that could change, but right now, I'm going Minnesota Vikings week one, man. I do not see JJ McCarthy folding under that pressure, man. And on top of the Bears having a new coach and also having a young quarterback as well, and Caleb Williams. So we'll see though, man. I respect your take though. You know what I mean? We'll have to double back on it after the game and see what happens. You feel me? Outro, man. Where can people follow you? I know I got his name in the title, but where can they follow you other than YouTube, man? You know what I mean? And follow your takes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. The show has been dope. I'd totally love to come on during the season as well when the Vikings are rolling as well. It's going to be the same everywhere. It's the JV show, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, even Spotify for our podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you watch your stuff. We're going to be everywhere. It's going to be a big year and hopefully talking a lot of Vikings. I'd be pumped to jump back on if you have me. I'd appreciate that. So
absolutely.
I appreciate you having me this morning, adapting to my schedule, brother. And I'm looking forward to the season.
Yeah, man. Shout out everybody who tapped in. Real quick, JV, if you just want to hang around for 2 minutes, man, I'm going to do this drawing while you're on here because the way you talked about the Minnesota Vikings, man, hey, I'm all right with you being on here while we do this. You feel me? This is big, man.
100%.
Shout out my guy, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out my guy, man. All right, so we're going to do the first drawing. This is huge, man. Let me just highlight me real quick here. We're going to do the first drawing right here, man. We have the custom made, man. Who's going to be the first one? It's funny. I was telling Norse, this jar right here is special too, because this jar came from a walk that me and my wife did, which was a 5-mile for Walk for Cancer. We did it for cancer too. So it all comes around, it all comes around full circle, man. But we're going to do the first drawing right now, man. This is huge, man. Let's see what we got here. I'm not going to look. There's more papers in here than you think too. I think there's like almost 30 something. So let's see, man. Let me grab. I'm gonna close my eyes here. Let's see who is the first one. And we have The first one, Anthony Webb, man. Shout out Anthony Webb. I don't know if you're in the building, Anthony Webb, man, but look, you won the first one. I know y'all can't see it. I'm holding it up as if y'all can see the name and shit, but I know you can't. Anthony Webb, this one is yours, my brother, man. Shout out to you, Anthony, for supporting, for sure, supporting the move, man. Remember, guys, we're going to be doing this for 3 more weeks. I'm going to do 1 drawing per week. By the time we do the last one, hey, it's going to be football, man. You know what I'm saying? Like facts. So shout out, Anthony. Make sure you reach out to me. Send me an email. Get a hold of me. Discord, email. You know, Anthony, we'll wind up seeing you. If you're not in here right now, we'll see you on a Friday night or something like that. So shout out, Anthony, man. That's huge, man. Hey, JV, man, I got to thank you again, brother. You know, this was amazing. Can't wait to have you on again, and we absolutely will. You know what I mean? It's absolutely.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I want to get you on, man. I love your football mind. You know what you're talking about, and I'll be following your channel, man. Hey, holla at your boys, man. Let's go.